Hello Gambit lovers, here I am again, and today I'm talking about the universe of gambits in chess. And there are many exciting gambits, and I know that ordinary players, they are used to play their ordinary openings like Sicilian, Spanish and so forth. But if you sacrifice a pawn in the opening, you often get the initiative, and as black it can be very interesting because white has to take a pawn and then you get a tempo more, and that can create initiative for black. And for white, who has the first move, it can increase the first move favor with a gambit as well. So gambits are very interesting for the ones who dare to take some risks to win their games without any care if they are black or white, they just want to win. Then can a gambit be very useful in ordinary tournament play. And I have talked a bit about gambits before, and I will go on and talk about other gambits again. And this time I will talk about the Elephant Gambit, a black gambit which is a bit underrated but very interesting, and also quite surprising because there are some values inside. One can say in the Elephant Gambit that white plays the first ordinary play move e4, and after that the Elephant Gambit comes in space. White players, they think they are going into the Spanish or the Russian or so, e4, e5, knight f3 and so forth. Ordinary play with tons of science about games and so forth, theory. But if you play the Elephant Gambit against e4, there is not much print. You have to be on your own. And if you see philosophical about the Elephant Gambit, you could say that white gets often a pawn more, but black gets majority of pawns on the king side and often gets the black squares on the left side, on the king side, and often gets faster development as a result of this sacrifice. And FIDE master who had been playing this opening against e4 is FIDE master Jonathan Rogers from Great Britain. He has achieved successes as a junior, finishing joint winner in the British under-15 in 1986 and second in the British under-18 in 1988. He also achieved an international rating in that year and finished joint winner of the British Mayor Open in 1990. In 1992, he has won the Southern Open and represented England in the Danish Open Junior Championship, finishing equal second. He was awarded the IM title in January 1993. So he's quite a good chess master. And he has written this booklet, which I show you here. And in that booklet, he has written about his experience in the Elephant Gambit. And it's a very interesting one. So I will tell you fundamental what the Elephant Gambit is about. As I said, white always plays e4 and black respond with e5, and then white plays knight to fg, and voila, now it's Spanish coming, or Russian, or whatever, or Italian, and so forth. But no. Now black surprises white with the gambit move d5. That's the Elephant Gambit. So this is the start of the Elephant Gambit. And Jonathan has shown that there are two main answers from white which shows the gambit. One is that the take with on d5, and then a bit not correct is to play e4 or to take on d5. It's not the best moves, but they're also being played a lot. But white used to get in tempo, attack against the queen and attack over there. So it's not the best. So when they take here, Jonathan's recommendation is to play bishop to d6 to rapidly get out with the pieces and let white be on taking his pawn. This is one of the main variation. But if we go back to the ordinary place like this, you can also answer d5 with knight takes d6, and then to take there is not the best, but to play bishop d6 is the best. It's the best way to play. And then mostly white used to play d4, sorry, and after that black takes here. This is a main variation start. And now in the fourth move there are plenty of moves for white, like bishop c4, like knight c3, and so forth. All this is talked about in the book. And I forgot to tell you that if you play the first variation, like e4, e5, d5, d5, and this bishop d6, there are also other ways, like for instance c4 or knight c3 or bishop b5, and they're all giving, if black plays the right moves, it's giving quite good chances. And it takes, there are at least 6 different ways to play against this variation and the same against the other variation, but it's quite complicated stuff. What I can say also is that a correspondence chess player called Halatz, I think he's from Hungary, has played as a correspondence chess player, has played this opening with success quite a lot. I myself has many years ago played this in some mixed wrestles in some tournaments as well, and my experience is that even if white gets material, black gets very much play. And what happens in an ordinary game, in an ordinary tournament, is that white very optimistic in the beginning because he has a pawn more mostly, not always but mostly. But black gets activity and rapidness in his pieces and mostly get attack here on the king side and also fast development of the pieces. So that means that white psychological gets unsecure if he's right out or not, and that happens that black then wins more than one can expect. All this you can see in commentaries and games. For instance, if you go on YouTube and see there are many masters or players who has talked about the Elephant Gambit, and also most of them has been positive, but some think that Elephant Gambit is a bad opening, but it's not sure. In the Gambit world, I think that Elephant Gambit is a very interesting opening. And you can use it as a surprise weapon or against a very strong player who is used to play the ordinary games but not so used to the gambits or not used with this gambit. Then it can be very interesting to play Elephant Gambit. But of course, you shouldn't play always the Elephant Gambit because then the opponent can prepare against you. And in this book with theory and games, I will show you a marvelous game from this number chapter 3. I can tell you about the chapters as well. He has an introduction of the Elephant Gambit. This is too wide to have here in the clip, but if you can see this or find it, it's okay. And in chapter 2, it is the first chapter where they take with the knight on third move, knight to e5. And in the third chapter, we have when they play with the pawn, e takes d5, and they also play bishop d6. You can play other moves as black in the third move, but they are not as appropriate as this bishop d6. It's the soundest way of starting the Elephant Gambit. So now I will show you a game between Dodson White against Rogers Black in Nottingham. It was played in a tournament in Nottingham, 1990. And yes, you have it there. It's analyzed from an engine about the game because it's so fantastic. And I will show a little bit of it to you now, just so you get a taste of what Elephant Gambit can be. And I recommend you to look in YouTube and other sources more about Elephant Gambit, because even if it's not so known, it is known since many years ago by specialists, and it's used as well. So in this game, they started as usual with e4 and e5, knight f3, and now the jungle told, animal word, d5, and I can think that the antagonist, if not dropped off the chair, he spared his eyes. What is this for shit? Something like that. But then he decided, okay, let's take the pawn and enjoy it. And as I told you, bishop d6, yes, of course. And d4. This is in this variation the main start. And black of course has to take there. And then here there is a game where I play like bishop c4 to attack here and check and win the game with the attack. But of course black just takes, and it gets a almost even ending or queenless middle game. So well, I have to start again. It's it's well, you can see if you analyze yourself. But e4, e5, not f3, d5, bishop take, knight takes, bishop d4 takes. Instead, white played knight to c3. It's another way to play. You can also play instead bishop e5, but then we take of another variation. Now I'm showing you again, but I just show you the all things. Knight to c3, attacking here, and here there are as well. You could as well play take, but it's a long variation, and it's almost gives even or a little bit better for white, but unusual queenless middle games, which are very interesting for both parts. But here he made a novelty and played knight to f6, Rogers, and he secured his e4 pawn. And here, after knight to f6, now white want to increase the pressure and take the pawn, so he played bishop e5. And black could have castled here, and queen d2 for long castle, but then comes knight b d7 and h6 after long castle, and it would be an unclear position. Perhaps quite a little bit better for white, but a little bit just. But instead, black played bishop f5, which is a very sound way. You protect your pawn over there, and you can't take it yet, because take here, take there, it's still defended. So bishop c4 was now white's intention to attack on f7 and get an attack. But of course, black castled, and now you are protecting f7. So he castled over here, and one could say that white has more active pieces, but still it's even material, because he has not lost that pawn yet. But white is more active with the pieces in this space, but it's not catastrophic. So black develops, and now it threatens over here, and he's not afraid to take here, but this is now increasing the pressure on e5, so he has to do something with the bishop. And to play f4 is of course not good, so in the pressure he took here to get rid of the pressure, because he can do nothing here. Black takes over here, and of course that leads till that white can destroy the pawn position, by the king. So the king's position is now a bit shattered, but instead black has got the bishop pair and some open puff files. So it's nothing special yet, even if it could be looking a bit better for white. So now it goes on. White thinks that he can attack because black has a shattered king side, so he plays f3. You can see that black has 4 pawns against 3 on the king side, white has 4 against 3 on the queen side. Here, black could have played e3 and knight d5, king g7, and if you follow that game further on, you will come to that white stands a little bit better than black, just a little bit, slightly better. But instead, black played rook a to e8 just to increase the pressure here and put pressure on the e line. And black has some compensation because of the pressure here on the king side, and white can't attack here because he has lost his black bishop, so the black squares are not so vulnerable as before. But now it takes his gambit pawn here, it thinks, and it takes here, of course. F takes here, rook h4. And now the structure, the pawn structure is of course a bit terrible for black and much better for white, but black has open lines on the king side against white's king, and white has no black bishop to attack the vulnerable black squares. Here, white could have done a bit better if white had played another game, but another place. But white played queen h5 because he thinks that he can attack h7, f7, and rook to h3 or g3 and attack the king because it's open. There is no protection against the king. But now happens something which is very typical in Elephant Gambit as psychological, because white thinks that he has a better structure, a shattered king's position for black, and open files for his pieces. But he forget that even his king is not 100% sure, and now it's black to move. So what was black playing in this move now? I give you a thought. Just think about what could happen here. Black to move. This is a very interesting position, and white has underrated black's possibilities in this situation. If you see the position of the pieces, so black got a splendid combination which turns the things around and makes it advantage for black, and that's to take on h2 with the bishop. Check. And of course, if you take with the queen to h2 and lost bishop, and king's position for white is shattered. So white took with the king, but now you get back your piece with queen d4 like this. And there are two big threats in the position. One is h2, and white will lose his queen, and the other is that the bishop is lost. But he has to protect his queen, so g3. That was not good either. The best had been to play d1 and queen c7 and then queen d5 and f8, and it would have been better for, it had been almost even, or he had saved his. No, it would have been for king e7, it would have been advantage black, of course. But instead he played g3 to get rid of this, protect this square. But that was not right, so of course it's forced now, you have to take the bishop. But now it's the fourth part, I said before, you have the heavy pieces left but nothing else. But even white's king's position is now shattered as well. So he has to protect here or he will be out. So he played rook to f2. And now, of course, you double on the e file, so you have straightforward. He can't make check here or whatever. So he protected his second line here, so I can't attack on the second line yet. But now I'm nailing this rook, so it can't move. It can't attack here. This pawn is protecting f7, so you can't take there. Because if you take queen, you can't take with the rook. So white plays queen to f5 just to protect it here. And now he plays rook to e6 to get the part over here and to protect this. As this is nailed to the rook here, white tries to escape the king to get this rook free so he can pressure over there. But now he attacks over here. But now it's attack over there because now it's the rook is, the queen is threatened, right? So he has to take here to survive the queen. And now attack comes in the final phase because now the second rook is attacking as well. And now black is clearly winning, and white has to protect king to g2 to get rid of it, but black's queen comes in here. Now attacks from that side, and after this move, he protects against the queen. But now, my friends, I wonder, now was a death penalty, now the death move. Black killed white now in one move. What was the move? Yeah, I think you already guessed that the deflection is rook to h2. Second time sacrifice on the h2 for the second time in the same game. Isn't this a lovely game? Of course, white resigned in this position. There is nothing to do than to give up, because of course white has to take the rook, and then you take, it's very nice, white has to take the rook, and then you take the queen. Voila. Isn't that a beauty? What shall you do? What shall you do, my sailor? You can only try to go there, but I think you can play like this. It's goodbye. Or you can even take with a rock. It doesn't matter what. You win. This is a clear-cut win for black. Isn't that nice? I can show you what white could have played instead in the critical phase, instead of queen to h5. I just wanted to show you this lovely game, attacking game, where white underrated black's defense or action in the middle of the king's side. So I just rushed through to the critical place where he sacrificed the bishop. So it was like e4, e5, knight f3, d5, knight takes, bishop takes, d4, d takes e4, knight to c3. Here's the new knight to f6. Mostly they used to exchange there, but we've shown that before. Bishop g5 to nail the knight. Protection, attack, castle, development, pressure, ease the pressure, take here, take here, take here, f3, rook h to e8, knight takes, and instead of the losing move, queen to h5, which started the blitzkrieg attack against white, white could have played g3 instead. That had been better, and white stays in the game. For instance, a variation is queen to c6, bishop d3, and here black takes. This is a variation, of course. Now you can play queen h5, attack here, and you have to sacrifice quality. Queen g4, king h8, c take d3. Now the black bishop is very strong and it gets to protect in the middle. Rook A to D1 to try to develop. Rook to D8 to stop prey over here or whatever. Now comes D4. Queen B6, cutting this open diagonal. King to H1. Now we take here. You can't take there. So B4 for instance, because you're attacking there. Well, doesn't matter, it takes. Now we can take here because he left the protection. But then we go back, attack and plays rook to F8 and thinks you can attack the bishop. But of course C5 protects his. Queen to F5, increase the pressure. Perhaps G5, attack there of course. But now I play F6 because the bishop is very strong. It's as strong as a rock. Bishop E4, and now comes Queen G7, and after A4, one can say that this position is not one for any side really. It's black has 2 pawns for the quality, but a free pawn and a very strong bishop. So this is just perhaps slightly better for white, but not more. In a practical game, this could be very difficult for a white player to win because this resistance, this counterplay from black. This is just a game, it's just a variation, but it shows the potential in Elephant Gambit. And in my opinion, the Elephant Gambit is very underrated, and I think it's actually splendid to have as a surprise weapon against a stronger player or a player who's not used to this tactical play. It's in open games, Elephant Gambit, it's very special, and black gets activity mostly on the king side, white gets often a pawn more on the queen side, but it's not so effective, the pawns on the queen side, as black's pieces are on the king side. That's making this Elephant Gambit very interesting for ordinary club players and players who like tactical play and tactical combinations. I can recommend it for these players. So that's all Gambits lovers for this time, and I hope you liked the example. So bye bye.